In this lecture, we will move on to again the physical tests of water. So we have seen these are the different physical tests which have to be conducted in water to ascertain the physical pollution. So there are many parameters. We have already discussed all these parameters except turbidity in the last lecture. So we will see turbidity, the test for turbidity today. So turbidity is a measure of how clear the water is. You all know that. It, it, it is caused by some colloidal matter, clay and silt particles, sewage or industrial waste, and even microorganism can cause turbidity. And this, when there is turbidity in water, it will interfere the passage of light in water, and this is the main cause of turbidity. So when there are suspended matter or some other particles which are colloidal in nature in water, when light is coming, it will not, this water will not pass this light. So that is the main disadvantage of this turbidity. It will give a cloudy appearance to water. There are many effects of this turbidity, bad effects to this turbidity. So first one is it blocks the sunlight, and it will raise the water temperature, which reduces the dissolved oxygen, and sediment deposits will occur in riverbeds due to this turbidity. It is unaesthetic in appearance. It will give some brown or other colors, and it disturbs the disinfection, because when we disinfect the water, uh, the uh, the thing which we are using for disinfection, for example chlorine is used for disinfection. When we use chlorine, this chlorine will get shielded from the microorganisms due to this turbidity, and they will provide an absorption site for chemicals. So these are the main bad effects of turbidity. And the main principle behind this turbidity measurement is a beam of light remains relatively undisturbed when transmitted through absolutely pure water. Particles, when present, cause that light to be scattered and absorbed rather than transmitted. So, this is the main principle. We will compare the absorption or transmission or reflection of light from a pure water and from a turbid water. So the comparison will give the relative turbidity. So this is the principle. So water, if it is not turbid, will transmit all the light. So that is the main principle. And it is not a direct measurement of suspended particles, but rather a general measurement of the scattering and absorbing effect that suspended particles have on light. And the unit of turbidity is mainly expressed in terms of parts of suspended matter per million parts of water, or shortly written as ppm. It is expressed as ppm, which is equivalent to milligram per liter. And the standard unit of turbidity is produced by 1 part of Fuller's earth or finely divided silica in 1 million parts of distilled water. So turbidity is mainly explained in terms of this Fuller's earth. It is a type of earth material which is similar to the finely divided silica. Uh, when it is present in 1 million parts of the distilled water, 1 part of Fuller's earth is present in 1 million parts of distilled water. That is the standard unit of turbidity. And the permissible limit of turbidity in drinking water is 5 to 10 ppm. There are many measurement devices for measuring the turbidity. So in field, we will measure the turbidity by means of turbidity rod. In a lab, we have many other instruments. Jackson turbidity meter, which measures turbidity in JTU units. Jackson turbidity units. Bailey's turbidity meter, which measures turbidity in BTU units. Bailey's turbidity unit. Nephelometric turbidity meter and ratio turbidity meters are there. We will see each of them. The first one is turbidity rod, which is used as a field method for measuring turbidity. It is a visual method of turbidity measurement. So here you can see there is an eyepiece here, a graduated tube is here, there is a nickel ring. This nickel ring is uh, used for making this rod stable. So we have to making this rod straight in water. So this nickel ring is used for that purpose. And there is an aluminum rod graduated 203 millimeter long. So these are the main parts of a turbidity rod. So we can see what is happening in the turbidity rod. At the lower end of the aluminum rod, a screw containing platinum needle and a nickel ring is inserted. The nickel ring is provided to insert a stick so that the instrument may be kept in the vertical position. Of course, it is used for stability. On the graduated tape, there is a mark for eye position. So we will see what is happening here. What is happening is, here we will see from the top. Okay, the rod is lowered in water, and the depth at which the platinum wire ceases to seen under standard light condition is noted. So there is a platinum wire at the bottom. So we will dip this rod in water. The point at which the platinum rod is not visible is noted. That will give the turbidity in ppm. Okay, so graduations will be there. So here we can see there is a platinum needle here. So this is a platinum needle. So when this needle is not seen while dipping in water, that point is noted. That point is noted. This there is a graduation here. So that point is noted, and that will give the turbidity in ppm. So that is the thing. And the second thing is Jackson turbidity meter, which is a lab measurement. It is used for measuring turbidities in the range of 25 to 1000 milligram per liter. 25 to 1000 milligram per liter turbidity can measured by using JT. So here you can see, here this is the Jackson turbidity meter. There is a candle here. There is a graduated glass tube. A container is there. A top frame and a stand is there. So we can see the candle through this portion. So here you can place our eyes, and we will add water to this tube, graduated tube, and when water is added, at what point this candle is not visible, that point is noted as the turbidity. That point is noted, and that will give the turbidity of water. So that is the thing happening here. And this instrument measures turbidity in JTU units, Jackson turbidity units. So light absorption is the principle of this particular meter. The height of turbid water prevents candle light to pass through. So this is the principle of this instrument. Now we will move on to the third instrument, that is Bailey's turbidity meter. It is used for measuring turbidities in the range of 0 to 10 milligram per liter. Very low turbidities can be measured by using this instrument, and it can measure sometimes up to 100 milligram per liter. Mostly it is used for 0 to 10. And this is the figure for Jackson Bailey's turbidity meter. There is a candle here. A bulb or candle is blazed here. There is a GI box inside which a blue cobalt plate is there, and a glass tube is there. So inside the GI box there is a glass tube, there is a bulb, a reflector, and a cobalt plate is there. So these are the parts of a Bailey's turbidity meter. Now we'll see how we can say that. A GI box, one side it has two glass tubes held side by side. So there are two glass tubes. In front of the tubes, on the other side, a 250-watt bulb with reflectors are there. Yes, of course. The glass tube supported at their lower ends with white opal glass and surrounded by blue cobalt plates are there. One tube is placed with standard solution, then the other with sample water. Bulb is lit, and the blue color in water in both tubes is observed from top. Color of reflected light is matched with the standards. So this is the thing. Here there are two tubes side by side. One we cannot see because this is a side view. So here there is a bulb. Here there are blue cobalt plates. There is a reflector here. So this is a GI box. When we lit the light, what will happen? We will in there are two tubes. In one tube we will place the standard water. In the other tube we will place the sample. And we can observe this from outside. Both the tubes from outside. We will lit the candle. So this blue cobalt plate will induce a reflection, and we can see the reflection in this water, and we will observe the color. By using this reflector we can observe the color of water in both the tubes. So that will give a comparison of the turbidity of water. The fourth one is nephelometric turbidity meter. It is used for measuring very low turbidities which is less than 1 unit. It measures its turbidity in nephelometric turbidity unit or 4-Mazin turbidity unit. So it works on the principle of scattered light rather than direct light. So this instrument works on the principle of scattered light. Light intensity is measured at right angles to the incident light, and it measures intensity using a photometer. So this is the main principle. Here we can see here what we are doing is we will provide a light beam here. There will be a lens and an aperture will be there. So this light beam passes through the sample. The sample is placed here, and at 90 degree to the sample we will place a detector. So how much light is scattered, and so this 90 degree is the scattering of the light, and this detector will observe the scattering of the light. How much is scattered, that will give the turbidity of this particular water. So this is the principle of nephelometric turbidity meter. WHO guideline, as per WHO guideline for potable water, the NTU unit should be 5. In some rivers during monsoon, 1000 NTU will be there. So that much turbid the water should be somewhere. So that is the thing. So this is the digital turbidity meter, nephelometric turbidity meter. And the final one is ratio turbidity meter. It also uses the same principle as the nephelometric turbidity meter. It's a ratio of same principle, but it will uses the ratio of 90 degrees scattered light to the transmitted light. It will measure both the lights, scattered as well as transmitted, and it will take the ratio of both the lights. And output is simply a ratio of 90 degrees scattered light to the transmitted light. For low turbidity, forward scatter light is negligible compared to the transmitted signals. So this is the principle of ratio turbidity meter. So with this we will close today's lecture. Before that we can see the ratio of we can see the figure of a ratio turbidity meter. Here the difference is we will place the detectors for both the lights, for scattered as well as transmitted light, and we will take the ratio of these two. So this is the principle. And there are many good effects by of this turbidity measurement. We can decide whether the turbidity interferes with the photosynthetical reaction. We can determine whether the water requires some treatment before its use. We can assess whether there is excess turbidity effects, this working of slow sand filters. So these are some of the advantages of measuring turbidity. So you can read this. Thank you.